Would you please put that phone away? That's so rude. Have you ever been in a serious relationship where you felt it could possibly lead to marriage, but you feel your communication is okay, not really so bad? Maybe you can work on the minor things like your attitude, just little things like this. But you feel pretty good about your communication in your relationship. Well, when I was engaged, I would often hear my fiance say, "Would you please put that phone away?" That is so rude. I noticed he would say that when we were spending time together, maybe at the movies or on a date. I felt it really wasn't that bad because he wasn't really paying attention to me. But that probably could be because of my growing up, how I was raised. Let me tell you a little bit about my family. In my family history, it was okay to have a phone out or to take a sneak peek and to see if it was an emergency call or work or of that nature calling you to answer it. Because my father is a pastor, you learn to know that he has a phone, and my mother has a phone. She works in ministry, and also with the mortuary, we're on call 24 hours, so we have to have our phone. So it's just kind of a medium. It was okay to have your phone at dinner, but you knew when to put it away. A mutual respect thing. When we had deep conversations, you would put your phone away. But when we're ordering food or things like that, making decisions individually while at the table, it was okay to have your phone. That's my family. On the other hand, my fiance family at the time, which is my husband, they really did not spend a lot of family time together. So when they did have special dinners or celebrations, the phones were not a big issue because they did not have them out. They felt everyone they needed to communicate with was there present with them. So he felt kind of different about the cell phones and having your phone and not having your phone, and it was a sign of disrespect. But this also led us to many arguments about the phone. It will start with the phone, then it'll lead to something else, and just occurring and reoccurring issues and arguments, and something good can always turn to something bad. After the start of the first week in this particular course, family communication, I asked myself about this particular issue. What am I creating with this form of communication? Is it good, bad? What am I trying to create? What do I want to create with my husband? Because this issue bled into our marriage. So what do I want to create with my husband? And what kinds of communication will help us create what we desire to create? That was 3 questions that was very present in our discussions, and we often talked about and was brought up. So this course allowed me to think about that, and it showed in my paper. And you always ask yourself questions. So a few positive communication practices that I adopted and practiced in my communication with my husband from the CMM theory. I was able to notice and work on a few things. First one, I was now becoming aware of unwanted, repetitive patterns. Him asking for my attention is not really a good thing. That's what I felt he was calling out for. And I often ask him, why is it a big deal about my phone? But that is a sign of, let's pay attention. He shouldn't have to keep asking me to pay attention or asking for my attention. Not listening and honoring his insight from the way he was brought up, because he did discuss with me what I told you earlier, how his family did not believe in the phones and you don't have your phone out when you're eating. Not willing to change for the best to create a healthy marriage. I was still stuck in my ways. Oh, it's just the phone, it's not a big deal. I will often stop, but sooner or later that pattern will reoccur and happen again. I believe before you want to fix a problem, you always have to recognize the issue. You can't fix something that you don't recognize the issue. So next, we had to work on moving forward from a negative response to a positive one. This little device could cause so much trouble. Like my response with the attitude, he just really wanted my attention. It would cause arguments, us ignoring, at the end of the day, we would ignore one another while on dates. It was an issue of me not being polite. That's how he felt. But I had to remind myself, you can't just go off on him or get mad, because he's just simply expressing how he feels, and he's begging and longing for your attention. So I have to move forward from my negative response to a positive response. And I learned that once you say something, even though they may ask you to do something, once you say something, you cannot take it back. Some people used to say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But words do hurt, and they can cause a damage and a damper on things that you really love and care about. So I have to learn to think before I speak, because I cannot take my words back. And I'm sorry is not good enough all the time, and I'm sorry gets old. From this, we engage into rituals to decrease tension from the RDT theory, by starting and ending our day in prayer. Just the simple things like that in prayer, because we have a religious background, and we took vows as Christians, to be the best we can be with each other. So we often pray for each other so that we have better understanding of each other and recognize that we are two individuals coming together as one, and that it's not easy at all, but it's worth it, and it requires a lot of work for anyone who desires to get married. It's not easy, but it's what you make it, and communication is very important. We also I started personally respecting his wishes by either telling him I'm waiting on a phone call from my mom or anyone of importance, that I may have to take a phone call, and that would let him know that I do respect him, but I'm expecting a phone call. And I would kind of ask him, is that okay? He's like, yeah, that's fine, Mom, that's cool, I understand that. And I noticed he does it also. So it's just a practice that we do as we go out on dates. And because we both work in ministry, he's a minister and I'm working in ministry as like praise and worship leader in different entities of the church, sometimes church people or anybody you work with, they call you anytime they want you because you make yourself available. But we started to let people know that between this time or this certain day, I will not be able to respond or contact you with the quickness. But as soon as I am available and I'm free, I will contact you. So just respecting each other's time and wishes. So that's some things that we started doing and we're still working on. There are many things that we have ahead of us in our marriage, but through the help of positive communication practices, we will pass down positive rituals and positive things about communication to our future children. We do not have children yet, but we want to start, practicing it so that it can become a habit, and to break bad habits and to keep positive communication by continuing to think about what we are creating, what we want to create, what kinds of communication practice will help us create what we desire. So I learned a lot and I practiced a lot, and thanks. Peace.